Hi there. My name is Daniel Nestor. I'm an assistant professor of English at the College of St. Rose, and I am going to talk to you a little bit about using other people's words and ideas as it relates to academic writing. Used to be called this talk series of talks quotations, paraphrases, and summaries, but over time it became much more than that, although it still is about the nuts and bolts of how you use other people's words. So there's six parts to this talk, and this recording will just cover part one, why use other people's words and ideas in the first place. And we'll talk about the argument in part two, and then we'll get into the summary, paraphrase, and quotations in the other parts. So let's start. Why use other people's words and ideas in the first place? Well, all academic writing and a good amount of creative or literary writing uses other people's words and ideas. Ideas are built upon other ideas in the past. And I can't think of many examples of writing in which you wouldn't use or make a point of not using other words or other ideas from other people. Some examples would be propaganda or notes for oneself, diaries or journals. Both are, I suppose, valid modes of writing, but that's not what we're talking about here in this class. Basically, you use other people's words because I say so, or someone I know or love thinks this way, or even because I lived through this isn't enough. Beliefs and personal experience are not facts. Personal experience does not necessarily translate into a universal truth. These are things that you need to take into account as you lay out your argument or explain your idea, but they aren't necessarily going to be the strongest parts of your argument. It's often effective in spoken rhetoric, and that's part of this class is, oral presentations, to use only one's voice, words, or citing personal experience. That works often in spoken rhetoric, but it doesn't always do the job, and often has the opposite to do in writing. You want to provide supports for claims that add credibility to your writing. And to do this, you need to refer to work of other people's ideas that lead up to the work you're now doing, the point you are making or are trying to make. You also need to show how your idea has evolved, and that's a classic essayistic trope. You should also give examples and several points of view when you're talking about a subject. To give only your point of view is to have a one-way conversation. You need to keep your reader in mind. And to call attention to a position with which you agree or disagree is also part of this idea of using other people's ideas by way of presenting an argument or an idea or to explain an idea. The other reason why you use other people's words is to highlight a particularly striking phrase, sentence, or passage by quoting the original. And this is done in a variety of ways, and we'll talk about that later. It's also to distance yourself from the original by quoting it directly, and you show readers those exact words and how they're not your own. So there's so many times when you quote somebody else's words or cite someone else's idea, and these aren't ideas or words that you agree with. And by saying and attributing that it belongs to somebody else is a good way to distance yourself from that and also to give yourself some room for interpretation and commentary. It also expands the depth and breadth of your writing. It adds a different color to your writing, and it shows to your readers you've considered ideas other than your own. In the legal profession, we call it due diligence, the diligent work that is required of looking into other people's ideas or alternatives to the solution to a problem you are presenting. So hopefully I've persuaded you that you'll use other people's words. How why do I need to cite them or give credit to other people's words in the second place? First and foremost, in a class like this, it's to learn how you are joining the community of scholars. You, as a college student, are a scholar. You are a member of the academic community. Academic writing is a conversation, and it's important to express your ideas, what you say, in its different incarnations, personal or not, but also listening and presenting the ideas of others. There's a book that I like to present in class called They Say, I Say, The Moves That Matter in Academic Writing. And it's by Gerald Graff and Kathy Birkenstein. And they write in that book that academic writing is deeply engaged in some way with other people's views. To write effective academic writing, in other words, you need to demonstrate not only that you've listened to others and can present their ideas, but you also are intellectually curious. And what we call in our business, my business, your business, in the academy, the spirit of critical inquiry. So, just to recap, in academic writing, effective academic writing, it's not enough to make a point or present an idea that you say you support. You also need to explain why you're doing this and oftentimes how you came to support this idea, the evolution of your idea. In other words, you need to present a claim or make an argument, offer reasoning and support, anticipate a rebuttal or opposition to your claims and overall claim, and finally, tell us why it matters and the implications for your audience. So when we return, we'll get to talk about the rhetorical triangle. I know it sounds mysterious and maybe even dangerous, but it's not, I promise.